Welcome everybody to the Canon Plan and Game Plan. This is our Monday live. I show up here every Monday, same time, same bat channel, same place. Whether you are watching me on Facebook or you are hanging out with me over on YouTube, this is the place to be on Mondays to get all of your tips, tricks, and ideas for using your paper planner. So you'll have to forgive me. I am going faceless today as allergies have really been bothering me. We're finally getting some fall weather, which also means wind and flying leaves and all kinds of fun things. So I am ready to be sharing with you guys today as we wrap up Spooktacular Habits. This is something that I really spend a lot of time on, something that I really think is valuable. And what I really want to drive home is the topic that we're going to be talking about today, which is reviewing and reflecting on your habit progress. This is probably the number one thing that gets missed when we talk about habit planning. I'm going to actually show you the process of habit planning over the course of the last 10 months for me, what that looks like, so that you can kind of see how I've gone through the process myself. This is not something I'm just willy-nilly and throwing out there for you. It is something that I religiously believe in. It is something that you should be doing every single week with your habits, taking time to reflect on them, see what's working, what isn't working, make changes where necessary, because if you take time to just let it flounder around, you're going to end up missing out on opportunities to grow not only yourself, but your business as well. So we're going to walk through 6 different steps along the way. I'm going to stop and show you an actual layout and how that progression over the course of the year for me. So the first thing I want to stress is the power of regular check-ins. As I mentioned, this is something I do every single Monday. It is part of my Monday planning routine. I do it with my membership group, and this is just an accountability. I go in, we walk through my habit tracker together. They get to see that, the ups, the downs that I have, the things where I get stuck. They get to see my percentages, what I have accomplished, what I don't accomplish, those kinds of things. So regular words are hard today, friends. Regular check-ins let you course correct before small issues turn into big setbacks. And I say that because what happens when we start to go through a process, we start to begin to see that there are maybe some things that are derailing the goals that we have in mind. And I want to show you January this year, 2024, and where I started to see some changes that I wanted to make in my content planning. So if you take a look here, these first 3 are the only channels that I was on back in January, and I was having some issues right here. And this is Instagram. And you will notice I had skipped a day, skipped 3 days, went on and skipped 3 more days down here. And this is something that I was finding happening on a regular basis. Now, prior to this, going back into November and December, I was also having this problem. So now I'm 3 months in. I'm still trying to work out some kinks, try to figure out what kind of way that I want to show up on Instagram and how I want to move forward with. So this was the power of the check-in. I was taking time to really dive in and go, okay, what is happening here? And this is where step number 2 comes in. And this is assessing what's working and what isn't. So what I was doing with Instagram was not working. It was not serving my purpose. I was having too many missed days. I wasn't being consistent. My content on there wasn't consistent. I felt like I was floundering around trying to find my place and how I wanted to show up there. So this second step was going through each week and doing my assessment and figuring out what it was that I was finding. Now, we're flipping to February now. And in February, 2 weeks in, I just said, that's it, I've had enough. And I pulled myself completely off of Instagram. I did not make any posts. I didn't show up in stories. I didn't show up reels. I didn't make any kind of content whatsoever starting on the 2nd or the 3rd full week of February. And it was because I did step number 3 where I make necessary tweaks. I realized that this is not serving me. I needed to go do some more research. I needed to be able to see what I could do better. And those kinds of changes and miscues that I was having with my Instagram were making some dents over here in what I was trying to accomplish. So I took Instagram out of the equation. When I did that, I also found that I was now down to 3 different columns, right, for content planning. And then I was also having some missing days. Those missing days happened to fall on weekends normally. Okay. So there were some things that I was finding as I was going along. Oh, look, we did much better in April. I showed up every single day for my content in April and was finding that I was having a little bit more success. I was starting to do what was happening at number 4, and that is celebrate some small wins. Then in May, I had a little bit of a hiccup. This happened to also be graduation for my middle son. I was painting my house and trying to run a business and having a workshop all at the same time. So I found that in May, I had some big issues happen where I had lots and lots of missing content happening. Okay. So going into July, I did some refresh, and you will see that those numbers started to increase. So here is in May. My goal for my content is always 95% completion. So going into May, I found I was at 67%. When I got into June, I was back up here to 85%, which means I was making some progress. There were a couple of days in here I missed going into June with different places and different things. I was also making some tweaks and changes around this time in my own personal planning style. And then in July, we went from 85.75 point to 85.8. So we went up a little bit of a percentage, and I was starting to feel a little more confident, a little more like I was on top of things. This happened to be when I was gone for a conference. And also during this time, I did some soul searching. And when I did my soul searching, based on the information that I had found out about myself, I needed to set goals based on those insights. And so after July, going through all of this time, I decided to make some changes and I added Instagram back into my mix. However, what I told myself going in is that I was not going to be posting on Instagram on the weekends. And I went ahead and blocked those out completely because I knew I wasn't going to be showing up there. The other thing that I did is I took out the days that I knew I wasn't going to be posting on specific channels. That allowed me a little bit of wiggle room along the way. And I set my goals based on what I knew I would be available to do. You will also see about this time, I started a new goal with Pinterest and how that was going to take effect into my content. Then we got into, so this is 91.8%. We get into September and my percentage is actually 99.25% because I went through and I went, okay, I'm physically not going to post on this day. I also added TikTok into the mess. So I went from 3 channels back in March to now I'm posting on 6 different channels, and I have been able to go through and fix my content. Now, what I warrant that to or give credit to in that is that I went to a new strategy, and this is where setting goals based on your insights is helpful. I allowed myself to put together a monthly content plan, and I want to kind of show you this, to build a monthly content plan that allowed me to be number 6. Commit to consistent reflection. And when I took time at the end of each week to make sure that I was doing what I wanted to do, it made it easier to do my weekly planning. So what I found is that this style of content planning all in a month so that I could see everything that I needed to post and where I needed to post all the time. Also, I found some repeating things that I needed to post every single day or on odd days, and I already put those in so that I was not forgetting to do those things. This is something that helped me to, again, set goals based on my insights. What I found was having everything together on one page instead of spread out over a week made it easier for me to do my content planning. If you have followed me before, you've known that I shared the social media insert. That's something that you can do on a weekly plan. I appreciate having a full layout where I can see everything. It is color coded. I know exactly what I'm going to be doing, and therefore it matches where I'm showing up on social media. Now you will see that even these are color coded. So my email, my email is one color. Then I have the plan in place, and Harmony Heroes and VI Planners and Business Page and Craft Hub. Those are all color coordinated so that I can see exactly what it is that I want to be posting when I want to be posting it. So what I want to stress and talk about today mainly is this section right here. Now in a blank layout, this says weekly habits to track, and you spend time crossing off those things that are going to help you do your weekly habits. But I like to use this as a way to track my content and my newsletters and my blog posts over the course of the week for my weekly reflection. So what does that look like? I go to my content plan for week 1 and I go, okay, I have all of my boxes checked. That's 100%. How many newsletters did I write in the week? Now in the first week, that also is the last week here in September. So how many newsletters did I write? I wrote 3. How many blog posts? I wrote 1. How many YouTube videos? I did 2. What were my sales? And that's something that I do off of my percentages from my back office. What did I do for Pinterest? I shared 1 video. Did I accomplish my 12-week goals for that week? Yes, I did. So these are all things that I do every single week. We call this our accountability post. We do it in our membership group, and it is something that we take time to do every single week. I walk them through this particular part. Then I share my post so they can see a photo of what my week looked like, and then I ask them to do the same thing. You can also do this on your own time, in your own planner, however you choose to show up and do your accountability, or you can find a partner that you can be accountable to and you can share that information as well. What I strongly suggest when you are going through and doing your reviewing and reflecting on your habits is that you make sure that you take time to see what's working, what isn't working, so that you can make those small tweaks, right? So the check-ins we're doing every single week, we're assessing what works and what doesn't work. If something isn't working for you, maybe it's not the right goal that you have in mind, or maybe not the right habit that you want to be tracking. So you're going to make those necessary tweaks. Like I did with Instagram, it wasn't working for me, so I just totally took it out of the equation. Make sure that you celebrate those small wins along the way. If you're showing up consistently, you're going to see your numbers and those chains continue to go to where you are having that consistency. After you make your changes, make sure that you set your goals based on what you learned about your reflection, and then make sure that you set time aside each week for you to revisit your habits, revisit your goals, and check to make sure that they are still working for you. That's all I have for the game plan today, friends. If you are in the habit of building, or if you're in the process of building goals, developing habits, or managing tasks, stay and hang out here with Cannon Planning. We talk about those things every single week right here on the game plan. Have a fantastic Monday, and I'll see you all soon.